Project Gorgon, the love child of Asheron's Call, Star Wars Galaxies, and EverQuest. Enjoy old-school combat, play as animals, learn and play instruments, socialize with others, all in an expansive world. In the words of Wanderer, Project Gorgon is one of the best original-style MMOs that has ever been made. It's currently sitting at a very positive rating with nearly 1,500 reviews on Steam. So, let's see if it's any fun. After you launch the game, you see at the top of your screen a list of current and upcoming events and below patch notes. New in-game content has recently been added, with poetry jams being held each Saturday in an inn. Anxiety Online wrote that the development cycle is very slow after having played over 1,500 hours, so perhaps we're lucky to be playing after a major update. Once you log in, you see your characters on the right-hand side. I couldn't create another toon since I hit the cap of 4, which is the limit for non-VIP accounts. We'll discuss Project Gorgon's monetization in a little bit. You can tell that I've been playing periodically since pre-alpha, so please let me know if you want more Project Gorgon content. I delete a character from when I was a pre-alpha tester and I create a new one. I think only humans and Rakshasas, the cat people, were available when I played years ago, so I select an elf. Fairies, orcs, and dwarves have yet to be released. It's unclear at this point if races have various bonuses or if they're only cosmetic. Veterans of Project Gorgon, please let us know in the comments. The character creation screen is simple yet effective. It reminds me of older school games. On the bottom right, we're reminded that the game is still in beta. When final customizations become available, we can reset our appearance. For an indie game, the soundtrack is excellent. I hope that the rest of their audio work is equally as good. Note the garment our character is currently wearing because it becomes narratologically important soon. Once I complete my character, there's a strange mount UI bug that renders a presumably beta screen yet quickly disappears to display an important cutscene. Let's watch. Instead of wearing acolyte robes with an academic precinct, I'm now dressed in rags. The UI is a little big by default, so I rummaged through the settings to adjust them. The settings are impressively robust. The ambient sound is grounded and the music continues to impress. This starting experience is vastly better than I remember from years ago. Ready? Watch what happens. See that? What great game design. Instead of explicitly telling me to right-click the bag in front of me, the game designer simply put the bag there and drew our attention via particle effects. In particular, the purple sparkles now teach players that when it is seen, it's loot. You'll see this effect again. Moreover, the loot within the bag slid across the screen into the UI button for inventory. So now you also know where to look for the loot. Additionally, we now need to open the inventory bag to equip the sword and use the food. So now we also know how to use the items. It also foreshadows the statistical system that we'll talk about in a moment. Once both items have been used, we're instructed to attack some feeble skeletons. A lot happens here, so pay attention. Did you see? When I pushed the I button on the mob's name tag, the game told me that more information would be exposed once my undead anatomy abilities leveled up. Next, when I attacked, its HP bar went down, whereas its blue bar went up. We'll explain this shortly. Third, there is no auto attack, just like Star Wars The Old Republic. Animations are believable and sound effects are acceptable. When the skeleton died, the game then tested my understanding of what it just had taught me, yet another layer was added. You have an armor gauge, which is like Halo's shield system. It expires before your HP. It also teases its dual skill system, and we'll cover that later. For now, I equipped the new loot, and I'm glad to see that equipment graphics meaningfully change. The headpiece doubles as a light source too. Remember that blue bar? It's a mob's rage meter. When it's full, they perform a special ability against you, and you'll see plenty of examples as a result of my failure to keep it down. After I defeat another skeleton, it quips, "No, I lost again!" That's hilarious, and I'll let the joke land without explaining it. I loot its bones. Remember them because they'll be useful soon. Watch this next scene. What do you notice? Like RuneScape, you gain experience based on what you successfully do, including dying, which you'll see more later. Moreover, did you notice that I was stunned? That was because I failed to lower a rage bar. Balancing your armor, HP, power, plus your opponents, in addition to their rage meter, is the dance of Project Gorgon's combat system. And so far, I really enjoy it. It does not feel like Star Wars Galaxy's triad system that rewarded only attacking one type, since your ultimate goal here is to still reduce their HP down to 0. I loot some gear left on the ground and begin to compare it to my own. Now is a good time to explain what's unique about Project Gorgon's equipment system. Similar to ARPGs, or more accurately, Ashran's Call 1, gear is procedurally generated. It isn't always clear which item is better since they adjust abilities in various ways. Thus, decisions are build or playstyle dependent. Moreover, gear can directly modify abilities, much like Diablo 3's legendary weapons or Path of Exile's unique equipment. Some can even turn single target abilities into AoEs or add DOTs to originally direct damage abilities. Since you never know what you're going to get, it keeps every kill a potential lottery. I see that mobs are also tiered, so I prepare to defeat an old skeleton guard since its weathered, beaten comrades have become easy. Afterwards, I loot a mushroom. Doing so granted me my ecology experience and a level up. These become important later, so remember them. I see a glowing statue over the hill, and I remember the original bag with sparkles from the beach. This is probably another tutorial. Watch and see what happens. What I love about this pedagogy is that it's shooting at several targets simultaneously. First, it's teaching you that quests don't have to be accepted from a person over whom is an exclamation mark. Secondly, quests can be puzzles. We have no idea what these coordinates are for or why they're important. All we know is that the fourth is 8. Last, it's really an introduction to the notepad for players to write reminders since it appears as if there is not a quest log. Now is a good time to talk about how skills work in Project Gorgon. You do not have character levels. Instead, you level up skills. However, similar to Guild Wars 1, you can effectively dual class. However, here, instead of 2 classes, you can slot 2 skill types. Currently, I only know 2 types, yet there are many more combat skills you can learn to mix and match. You'll see some more soon. More foreshadowing. What will this platform be used for? I love that Project Gorgon simply places this object here without explaining why or what. It just is. It's up to us to figure it out. Another obelisk. What do these coordinates mean, and whither do they go? While the game world does not hold your hand, if you need a little extra help, there is an ideas section of the UI that can give additional details. This is a great safety net for players not used to engaging with the RPG side of MMOs. This reminds me of Shrapnel, who after 200 hours wrote, "Don't let the graphics fool you. This game is extremely good, and the starter island gives a player a taste of what they can expect in this game. No handholding, but if you scratch the surface, the game starts revealing layer after layer of depth that is constantly drawing you in." I encounter a sign pointing to an enchanted dummy that says students must destroy it to pass. I wonder if we, before our memory was wiped, successfully completed this task. Functionally speaking, this is a tutorial to introduce players to different damage types. We have to find another way to damage it since our fists and sword are ineffective. I encounter 4 pedestals. Watch what happens. While teaching players about simple boolean puzzles, it rewards you with the ability to tame specific creatures. Doing so requires cheese. Of course, the ability is a special one that is placed on the 3rd hotbar to the left. I love that there is a limit to the amount of skills you can activate at any given time because it makes build choices meaningful. Project Gorgon can be emotively romantic. Feel the ambiance of this area. As we take in the moment, let's discuss the payment model. Project Gorgon is free to try with a demo that presumably includes the tutorial island. You can buy once and play forever at a rather steep price of $39.99, unless it's discounted like it currently is, just north of $25. They sell an optional VIP membership for $11.99, which is more than what they projected during their Kickstarter campaign, and they're also in early access. If you're selling a game with a subscription, you've functionally released your product. Bojack wrote that Project Gorgon was a fun game, despite the mediocre graphics, but with the looming pay-to-win submodel, I can't in good faith recommend this game to anyone, despite having nearly 1,000 hours on record. However, if you love old-school MMORPGs, I think the asking price can be worth it. I find a camp with quite a few objects. Let's see what happens. If you didn't catch it, I now have all 4 coordinates, yet have no idea what to do with them. I love the tension. I see a sturdy chest, yet I can't access it. Laara harkens at me because it's her chest, yet if I play my cards right, she'll let me use it. This introduces the player to Project Gorgon's favor system. In short, while MMORPGs like World of Warcraft have faction standing, Project Gorgon has NPC standing, like in Black Desert Online. Each NPC can be befriended through giving gifts or doing favors, like minor quests. She, for example, wants bones and spoons. Remember those we looted earlier? They have a purpose here. As a result, you could be given any number of rewards, including access to this chest. We don't know what's in it, nor why we need to use it, so we'll see if I can figure out how to access it. And the music is perfect. It's a buttery blend of whimsy and elegance stirred into an audio experience. You can also nap for a 30-minute buff. I wonder if better beds confer better boons. I stumble across a decrepit house in which Ryger resides. He fills in our understanding regarding whom we saw in the introduction cinematic. Remember the witches? They're crones. Like us, he's a victim of their violence. He's depressed, which ends up being ironic, and you'll see why soon. He won't let us read his book, and he won't tell us how we can help. What will we do? I wander up a hill into a lighthouse and meet a gentleman whose name is Elmataf. He remembers me, yet gets my name wrong, which is hilarious. This won't be the first time it happens. We learn that while the island now is a trash heap for failed prodigies, it used to be a training center for budding acolytes whom the crones were training. Most quickly die upon arrival, so the skeletons must have been our fellow students who had less luck. He kindly teaches us how to teleport, but whither and how? We're still left puzzling out how to use the ability. He also lets us read his books, one of which includes various crafting recipes. Note the pick-me-up juice, and think about whom we've encountered in the past who could use it. I run back to Ryger. While visually anticlimactic, the story is hilarious. He's in fact a psychologist who has fallen into deep depression that was remedied through alchemy. As a result of reading his textbook, we learn our third combat skill, psychology, which focuses on crowd control. It also does a different type of damage. What could we use that for? I run back to the enchanted dummy to try my new psychological skill set upon it. In another funny twist, it was mind power that could damage the soulless item, not blunt force trauma. As a reward, we are given a key. Remember it. Recall the platform from earlier? Does our teleportation magic work here? Let's see. Yes, great. A few puzzles we've been working towards are finally coming full circle. I run back to Laara to see if I can earn enough favor to use her sturdy chest. After becoming friends with her, she gives me a skinning knife that opens up another life skill and tells me how to get into the chest. Come to find out, the key from the dummy is for the chest. I open it and it becomes a free bank out here in the middle of nowhere. Apparently my younger self put items in here that I've since forgotten about. This quest was particularly enjoyable because it tied 2 separate tasks together with a very useful reward. I run back up to the lighthouse to see if the elf has more to teach me since we've bound ourselves to the magic circle. He gets my name wrong again and quizzes me on the coordinates given from the obelisks. If you get it wrong, you will be transported to a very dangerous higher level area as a punishment. That's hysterical, and I love it. I run into a dungeon and you won't believe what happens next. Are you seeing this? Real multiplayer? We actually spoke to one another and organically grouped up. When was the last time this happened to you in a modern MMORPG? No group finder, no artificial tool, just pure socializing. We run upstairs to fight a boss. These are very difficult, who if they kill you, curse you with a permanent debuff until you kill them. You have to be prepared to win. Will we? Let's see. You can see that the boss, Gadgis, the big-headed, used its rage ability on Elfgard, whose head turned big until he killed him. Slaying bosses also levels up your notoriety skill. He dropped rare gear, including an instrument for bards. If you've ever played Star Wars Galaxies, Project Gorgon has a musical system similar to the Katina. I was worried that I ninja looted everything, yet loot is per person, so loot away. We made our way through that dungeon and into an adjacent spider cave. Here's our attempt at slaying a boss we found. See that? When you die, you earn death experience. This is a superb twist on conventional penalties. While it's still punishing to have to run back through the cavern, you eventually can develop your character through death. See those? Even if you are not in close proximity to a boss, yet your group kills it, you still receive rewards. Secondly, like in EverQuest 2, mobs can drop skill abilities. I love this. It drops great gear, a skill book, and a special type of weapon that helps you emphasize only one combat skill at a time. I like that you have the choice to specialize into one type instead of always using two. We finally leave the cave and trek into the mainland. We ended our adventure by becoming each other's friends. Outside of my experience in a Neverwinter Nights 1 persistent world, I cannot think of the last time in recent memory that this degree of socialization has happened in an MMO. Is Project Gorgon fun? In the words of Apricot, after 838 hours, Project Gorgon is like being a naked fat guy on a hoverboard. Once you stop caring what it looks like, it's amazingly fun and refreshing. Thanks for watching.